but we need this. GB's about to eat a delicious Spanish sandwich.
Show it to me, GB. Let me see it.
Let
Take it out.
right
Whip it out. Let me see
this is the cold open, and then we'll crash with
brother.
the music or whatever.
Oh, brother. Look at this right here. Just absolute divine. Honestly, it's not that bad. You know, they kind of skimped a bit on the sauce, personally.
Okay.
But let's go for the bite.
Yeah.
It's like Korean style, he said, like Korean barbecue sandwich?
Korean barbecue chicken.
Or Spanish Korean
I mess with that. Yeah, Spanish Korean barbecue.
Made in Spain, of all places.
A lot of modifiers in that title.
I may or may not eat this all while we're on the podcast today.
100%.
Anyway, let's go ahead and start. All right. Oh, I had a piece of lettuce on my keyboard. Sick. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Rebooked, the show where we talk about wrestling storylines that matter and the men and women slapping meat in the middle of the square circle. I'm Golden Boy, and yes, I'm still in España. I'm in Spain doing the Valorant Champions Tour. It's amazing, but enough about that. We got Matt, we got Jake, we got me. I got a chicken sandwich. It's going to be a good
intro
day.
yourself twice? You said, I'm Golden Boy, we've got Matt, we've got Jake, we've got me. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
And he's got a sandwich, folks.
I kind of sandwiched the sandwich.
That's why he's a pro.
Yeah.
That's why he's the pro.
Welcome to Rebooked, everyone. Hopefully, you've had an excellent week watching some pro wrestling, maybe even playing some pro wrestling because WWE 2K4 or 2K24, excuse me.
Oh, that's right.
Roll the back 20 years. Roll the clock back on that one. But yeah, 2K24 looks awesome. Can't wait to play that myself. I just need a competent piece of hardware to do so.
Very well reviewed. Very well reviewed.
Really? Which was shocking, honestly, because they
gave it an 8. Kind of funny games. I mean, Greg said it was the best well-made wrestling game ever. And he was even including No Mercy.
Ever?
He was like,
I do love Greg, but he is currently employed by WWE.
The king of hyperbole in that situation.
I will take it right. with a pinch of salt, and I love you, Greg. I really do.
Which you don't get in Spain, from what you were telling us earlier. So.
That's very true. Okay, well, Jake just wants me to get kicked out of the damn country. That makes a lot of sense. But yes, there's so much going on in the world of wrestling, but we want to talk about what's happening today. Today we're going to be talking about the Bloodline as well as the Cody story. We're going to be reacting, regarding what happened on Monday Night Raw with Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes, and then of course the Rock concert and everything in between. We'll be going back around the squared circle because we have plenty of things to talk about, and you're just going to need to stick around to listen to what we're going to discuss. And at the end, we will be talking about the boss. Oh, excuse me. The CEO, Mercedes Mone, making her debut in AEW and going into a program with Julia Hart. Oh, this is fascinating stuff. This is Rebooked. Let's jump into it. First things first, fellas, I've missed your faces. Jake, yours especially. That beautiful, just red glasses frame, the smile, the charm.
What shit is this? What am I, chopped freaking liver over here? I shaved, especially for whatever. No, just go on.
I also shaved specifically for this. You just can't show it on YouTube. Yeah, I missed you as well, GB.
Thanks, man.
Good to see you. Good to see that sandwich. And yeah, there you go. Take another one, big fella. There you go.
Yeah. Go on. Tell me more about that sandwich.
Did we lose Jake? The sandwich broke him.
We might have lost Jake for a minute. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's freezing, frozen a couple times. My apologies. I get it's ironically
I'm the one on a Wi-Fi
sandwich.
I'm the one on a Wi-Fi connection in Spain.
Yeah.
So let's settle on that one for a minute. Okay, Matt, how you doing, buddy? It's been.
I was good until I got overlooked by that little intro, but I'm fine. It doesn't bother me.
Wow.
It doesn't. No, I've been good. We just had another wrestling weekend. I was in Florida for a little show in the Boca Raton area.
Ooh.
Which was much warmer than Chicago, so that was nice. Got to see my old friend Tyler Breeze.
Oh, how's he doing?
Live and in the flesh. He's good. It was great to see him and just chat with him and catch up with him. So I love going to shows and running into people from my old family and everything like that. It's always awesome to run into the boys. Semi-regular, yeah. I mean, some people more often than others, obviously, depending on the circuits and the promotions and stuff like that. But hadn't seen him in person. We chatted a few times, but hadn't seen him in person in probably a couple of months at least. Okay. Even the last time was really, really short, so it was good to catch up.
What is there like a rule change that I didn't know of? Because like I've been seeing a lot more posts about WWE guys showing up at indie shows, and even Shayna Baszler, I think, is going to be wrestling at Bloodsport, I think it is, which is like good for her because she's amazing. Like she's like one of my favorite people that I met in all of WWE when I was at G4, because she was just this massive nerd who also could just destroy your life. So I actually think it was apropos. She's awesome.
Yeah. No, like I don't think there's been a major specific change because I mean, like outside of that, where else have they showed up? I saw
Bailey and Naomi were at AEW, but they weren't shown. But they were.
Yeah, there. I mean, that's always been. Look, you're outside of your work. You can, if you want to go to you want to go to another show, you can show up. They can't punish you for that. I mean, maybe back in the '90s they could but people have often done that. I mean, I think in the early days of AEW, I'm sure it was discouraged. I know it was discouraged actually to go and make those headlines, but I think nowadays, it was like you didn't want to be heard that so and so was hanging out backstage at the other. But I think since then, especially since the old man's gone, I think there's a little bit more just all right, acceptance. Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't tweet about it. Don't whatever. But if you're seen there, it is what it is. And then the Shayna Bloodsport thing, I think is cool. It's such a good fit, obviously, for if you've never seen Josh Barnett's Bloodsport events, they're very cool, and they focus on a lot of people who wrestle that style, a little bit more gritty, a little more grapply. Josh Barnett has had a couple of cool matches, and we were looking at it. I think that show is going to have, especially, I don't know what the plan is. Obviously, if Shayna didn't have any Mania plans, probably reach out to her, reach out to Hunter, may as well make a cool kind of appearance that weekend, make something special of it. And it's a really, really good fit. And another just example along with some of the Japan examples that they've had with both All Japan and Noah with Shinsuke and Regal's son going over there and stuff. Just the open-mindedness for collaboration, and let's not forget, TNA and the Rumble. It's cool for special moments like that. So,
based Triple H. I mean, honestly, that's really what it is. And honestly, I always had a feeling that he was just like a little bit of a pro wrestling nerd. He
100% is. He'll admit it that he is. Absolutely.
Yeah. It honestly is just really, really cool because I would have just assumed they wouldn't watch any of the independents and stuff like that. But no, here we are, and what a great time it is. Seriously, to be a fan of the business, really, really fun.
Very much.
Speaking of though, we want to let you guys know. Make sure you join us on Discord. We have a Discord now. Okay, it's building up little by little. You could be a part of something at the ground floor. Invest early. There's nothing to invest in, but if it ever happens,
you're just investing in us emotionally. Is what you're doing.
Emotional investment. If you're giving us emotional investment, that's enough, and I'll take that. So go nuts with that. Also, like and subscribe. And new thing, by the way, if you happen to like anything that you're seeing, in the show or whatever, please, share it. Let people know about this podcast. We really love making it. And, I'll be honest, I was also just really bad at marketing a podcast. So if, y'all want to come through and help a brother out, that would be amazing. Other than that, though, there's so much more to talk about in the world of pro wrestling. So let's go ahead and begin because, as always, we start with Cody Watch, and we see what is going on with the Bloodline storyline, as well as Cody Rhodes heading into WrestleMania this year. There's been a lot happening I would say, and I want to say the dirt sheets, but I would say social media, and we don't like talking about dirt sheets here, so that's not going to be a thing that we focus on. But there has been a discussion regarding that the length of this story and how it's been going, and Cody coming out every week, and Rock coming out every week, and Roman coming out every week, and they're just talking, and it's going back and forth and back and forth. And there's this perception right now that Cody is kind of like looking really weak, especially after the Rock concert. So I guess that would be a good place to start, which is the Rock concert. Rock shows up in Memphis, Tennessee. He's going to do his thing again. What we know and love about The Rock, he does the silliness where he sings and dances in the middle of the ring. But this time around, it was heel Rock. He was doing his thing. And Jake, I know you are always like, you like the old school, right, as well as the new, but you definitely appreciate that stuff. How was it for you seeing the Rock concert back again? And did you feel like it lived up to the hype? Because it did feel like it was super hype going into this.
And Jake, remember, you called it. What was it, like 3-4 weeks ago? You were like, it was like our second episode. You were like, if they don't do a Rock concert, they're missing. They're missing a huge boat.
Exactly. Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed it as always. I thought it was funny. I was surprised he didn't go in on the city a little bit like he used to. I know that it's like that's home or whatever, as he says, and I was still a little surprised that he didn't flip that switch a little bit and still be like, more of a heel that we have been seeing from him. So that was a little bit of a surprise that he was just very like,
reserved.
I don't know. He was very reserved and very positive when it came to talking about the city. He came out and it was more like the Rock we expected to see when all this started. So that was a bit of surprise. The concert was funny. It was enjoyable. But to me, the best part was his stuff after the concert.
Okay.
And I actually thought it was one of his best promos since he's come back. I know he slipped up a couple times, misspoke a few times. I know he did. But I still thought that the emotion of it was better. I liked that he brought it down. And it wasn't just him, dropping catchphrases or, saying walking clown emoji for the 5 trillionth time. I appreciated that it was like he kind of told a story with his promo a little bit where he's like, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how things are going to go. This is how it's all going to end. This is why I'm doing it. This is how, and it just, I really enjoyed that part of it.
Wait a minute.
And it's going to up.
And what were you going to say?
We did lose you for a minute there. We lost you for a minute there on our end.
Yeah. Well, it was. I enjoyed the stuff at the end. I thought he did a great job with that, of like really making it personal and not just about like, you're messing with family, but like, no, Cody, I want to hurt you. I want to hurt your family. And just really, really made it more personal. So that I really liked. I think I think it kind of raised the stakes even more, and made me even more of a believer that they're not winning that tag match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem though. I don't like now that I'm on that side more and more, that because yes, we all know that the bloodline rules is like sounds cooler, but it would have been nice if like the Cody stipulation, if he won, was had a little bit more pizzazz, because it feels like bloodline rules to close out this era of of the WWE Championship just feels like way more fitting, right? I mean, unless I'm crazy and I feel like I'm reading too much into this, but that's just.
What do you mean?
Well, I just feel like we know that it's going to be bloodline rules. Like they're going to lose the match, like because there's no. What is the other option? The other option is Cody and Roman have a straight up one-on-one match to decide the championship. Don't get me wrong, I'm fine with that, but Bloodline Rules just sounds way better. Sounds something like you can market way better. And it just feels like that is going to be what we're going to get. Like, they're going to lose the match. I think Seth is going to be the one to lose. And it's going to be Bloodline Rules, Roman versus Cody, and it's going to be insane. Sure. And because that makes the most sense, right? Like,
I think so.
I don't know.
No. I think you're right. There's a part of me though that is almost like, and I think it has to be that way too, because I think you can't just have. You've got to put him up. You got to give him that last little bit of peril to Cody before he finishes the story, right? Oh, that last misstep. Oh God. All right, now I'm up against all of it tomorrow night. It's good. It is very good. There's the little purist part of me that's like, when he wins the title, again, being very presumptuous, but when he wins the title, I like the idea of it being in a kind of a clean, straight up one-on-one. It's not like some crazy crap, fireworks all over the place kind of scenario. It's just one-on-one. He's better than the guy. He finally proved it. Bloodline barred from ringside. Mano y mano. He's the better man. That said, I think you're right. It has to go that way for the story. I think we're good. That's exactly what's going to go down. You're going to have the Bloodline Rules, and I think we're going to get our Avengers chaos in it. I think Bloodline comes down. Friends are going to come.
I think Dustin's
Jay's
showing up.
Who knows? Maybe in this wrestling world, you never know.
Can you honestly see a world, genuinely, okay, where Cody, who is like the biggest name in WWE at the moment, right? The biggest face in WWE at the moment for sure, right? Mm-hmm. This guy's brought in a lot of money for the company. He's the number one merch seller as well, right? He's got multiple shirts at number one. I would imagine that if Cody were to go and say, hey, I want Pharaoh to show up, I want Dustin to show up, like, I think they're just going to do it because why not? It fits the story, like it serves the story.
110,000%. That's not the issue, and I don't want to get into the my question would be if Tony allows that.
Sure, and that is
he's
obviously
gotten a little more spicy about WWE stuff in the last year or so. He's gotten a little bit more combative about it. So, like, whereas before, I wouldn't have maybe been surprised. Like, hey, there's some doors that could be open there. And maybe under this newer regime, it can. Like, but I think it should. I think it'd be amazing. But do I see a world where it doesn't happen? Yeah, I'm not expecting it, but I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, and I think that is the important thing, right? To temper expectations, because it's oftentimes, what is it? You can like work yourself into a shoot or whatever, and you can just be
brother.
like, "Oh man, brother, this is happening 110%." It's like, like it is like the ultimate fantasy booking scenario. It's like, oh man, and then the Young Bucks are gonna show up, and then like everyone's gonna pop up.
All the other EVPs, his past comes on, and the Bloodline hires Kenny Omega.
By God, it's Kenny Omega from the rafters.
Yeah.
He V-triggers Cody's dog.
Oh, no, not Pharaoh. Could you?
Yeah.
He's a gem. We love him. We love Pharaoh. Yeah. We stand him. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But in regards to that, though, then we move on to Monday Night Raw, and Cody is right back doing the same thing again. He's got his methodical way that he speaks, and he's saying things, and he's letting you know that this is the most important match of his life. And then Paul Heyman comes out. But also, it just felt as if in that promo that Cody was just going for cheap jabs. That's what it felt like. Which, to be fair, The Rock has been going for cheap jabs. But it's weird when a good guy does it.
So
or am I tripping?
I think you're tripping a little bit. I think you're doing too much of that Spanish wine. A little bit of that, I know it's flowing. I know you're having a good time over there, but shoot. Like, no, for real. So, like, I get what you're saying. What I think, though, it is there, in this whole thing, and I do think it is overall, like, again, I'm going to go back to what I said. I think they shotgunned this thing with the pivot a little too fast. Mm-hmm. And if they would have been able to have it a little bit more organic, then it would have been we would have been hotter going into the closing weeks. We still could be, but like it's starting to feel, especially it's a lot of just promo.
Yeah.
Promo.
Yeah. Well,
but
and it's
there's
also
a lot,
clear that they're trying to keep him, right, from like going into the ring and getting
and of
hurt.
course, you hold it back too, and we want to keep everybody for that pay-per-view. But it does feel like there's a lot of real-time reacting here, and I think especially even at The Rock's couple of last promos is made waves or whatever. Oh, he's cursing a lot more. He's pushing standards and practices a lot more, and everything, and so he gets to do that, but nobody else does, right? And so I think there's a reaction here of now the Cody character. There's been a lot of like, we need to give him more teeth. There was that one promo where he beat up the security guys and he kind of fired up. Here it was the same thing, but in more of his like pushing the language. Go watch that YouTube video. He's got 3 or 4 beeped out things now from the live broadcast. Like they're trying to give him some of the same leeway and edge and teeth that Hollywood Rock's got. So I get that. I don't know if it works to the same degree that it works for Rock, but I think it's good that they're giving that to him. My big fear in this, actually, of all the things, and hopefully we're going to get back to it this coming Friday, we're losing Roman Reigns. We're losing the Universal Champion in this.
I was going to say that. Oh, my, yes.
It's all Cody Rock, which is good. And again, we still have like 3 full weeks. So hopefully we can bring that back into focus. Remember, this isn't just about slapping the guy back and insulting your families back and forth. Like, this is about the world title ultimately. So I hope that comes more back into focus.
Dude, so true. I was saying this watching
unless that's potentially a story point. And that, like, you motherfuckers are overlooking me. Maybe that plays out after Mania. I don't know. I'd like to give him that credit, but again, I would like to see that come back into focus.
There's something there.
I
think there's something there because
there's a nougat.
The way that Roman looks at Rock with almost contempt, as he's going off and being the Rock and doing his thing. And you could see Roman just being like, you mother, I cannot wait until I get to beat the crap out of you.
It's
like,
why he had Rock acknowledge him. It's why he had Rock acknowledge him. For that reason alone, to be like, let's not forget who's got the title around his waist. Let's not forget who's the head of the table. It's me. You can come in here and have your fun, old timer, but at the end of the day, I'm the man. Me.
He is the face and I think that's
and I think that's the point of the little meeting on Friday and that's why and I think that's exactly why the stipulation, if you will, was you come alone, he comes alone. There's no distractions. At the end of the day, it's you and me for the title. And I think that's important. I think that's why it's probably just going to be the two of them. And it does need to be because, Roman's getting lost in this. And Cody even kind of called that out. I can't remember the wording exactly if he said Rock was Roman's side chick or if Roman was Rock's side chick. I can't remember exactly the wording.
He called Rock Roman's side chick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just watched it before the show to remind myself.
Okay. So, he's definitely getting lost in the mix here. And I'm very interested to see what's going to happen on Friday because you're right. Like Roman's kind of just, and I think it's purposeful to a degree. Roman's just kind of in the background.
You see,
he's in the. He barely talks during these segments. No,
I don't think it's. I think it's just a product of the fact that like they had to find a way to just shoehorn The Rock into this program, and because I think that like if I've been thinking about what would happen if Rock wasn't here, and what would it be, and what it would be is a very straightforward like Cody overcoming the odds, going up against the Bloodline. He's probably going to wrestle solo once on SmackDown. He'll wrestle Jimmy. He'll probably do they did the tag team, right? Like all that stuff, right? Like it would have been like him and Jey in a tag team against Solo and Jimmy, and then that probably would have just been the build up, to that match. Whereas now, they got to like give Rock ample space to be able to make sense in this narrative, right? Is how I feel. That said, I'm not like bothered by it by any means whatsoever, but I definitely do feel it a bit more now as the weeks have gone on. It's like, okay, it's very clear, like, because if Cody's wrestling, right, leading into Mania, I don't think that, like, looks particularly great for Roman, you know, who, even though he doesn't, like, wrestle that much. And I'll be honest, I would have liked to have seen Roman wrestle at least one time before Mania, but that's not happening, like, at all. So now you're kind of just left wondering, like, okay, how do we like give everyone the ample space so that this way they can properly tell their story? And then you include Seth Rollins in there, and there's just like so much movement, you know. Yeah. It's not bad necessarily. I just feel like they had a good start, but then they were like, oh shit, we have weeks of TV that we got to fill, and that's kind of like how it maybe went through. But I don't know. Could be reading too much into it. You know?
One thing I will give them credit though on this as it's hard to be, and wrestling has always been known for kind of the, I don't want to say lowest common denominator, but the easiest, cleanest cut story. Like that's why usually there's only like the path of least resistance. But just even from a presentation, you kind of got. Most people would have like one segment on a show. That's the one time you see the New Day. Okay, their segment, maybe a backstage, something like that. Except maybe your main event guys. They start the show, promo, they have a match at the end, but it's you can follow these stories. All right, now it's time for the tag team story. We see them, they're done for the night.
Yeah.
They've done a pretty good job. There's been a lot of intertwining. Cody ran in on the Jimmy and Jey promo with that. So they connected that thread back. Like we're not forgetting that Jey and Cody are friends. All the Seth Rollins, he's got to deal with both the Cody Rock situation and the Drew situation. They're intertwined with it. So we're not forgetting all these threads and like
That's true.
Where they easily could have just like forgotten about XYZ, they're like, oh no, they're bringing it back, and like they're keeping that in the mix, which is hard to do, especially on a wrestling show. But like, good on them for doing that.
Yeah. A little off topic, I will say. Drew keeping CM Punk's name in his mouth the whole time has been very fascinating. Because there are times where I genuinely don't know if he's just like shit talking him or if he's actually like
could be either way,
doing business and trying to like get this thing happening, because it feels like it would make a lot of money for them and they could like really pull a lot of attention with it. But
especially for the heavyweight title.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know the heavyweight title has definitely faded away a bit more. And even though they are like mentioning it, right? Like Cody mentioned it on Monday Night Raw, how like, you know, Seth Rollins is a defending champion, like obviously bigging him up. It's just also really uniquely bizarre because like not too long ago, Cody, his last match was his freaking chest bruised completely while he's going up against a very angry and determined Seth Rollins in a freaking cage match, right? So it is. I do think that is also going to come back down the line as well, but who knows? And another thing that I really enjoyed was Cody mentioning Homelander.
Yeah.
After years of people telling him that he was just a Homelander gimmick, he literally just was like, I will go to you, Paul Heyman, and rip your throat out like Homelander. And Paul Heyman's face was just money, man. Oh, the dude's a freaking
Paul
gem.
is always, his reactions are fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like he is one of those guys. There are so many, and I've talked about this before, who are so, and I know he's a manager, and most managers are better at this, but so egocentric that they don't want to look afraid or look like this. Paul Heyman is all about, he puts over Cody, like, you know, that don't touch, like, don't hurt me, I'm just a mess. He's that weasel little kind of guy, and he plays it so well while still being like, having this air of like genius about him, while he's still the little like weasel faced, like just bad guy holding the title for the boss. He's also got this air of, I don't know, just all the flowers to Paul Heyman on
also another weird thing, and I could be reading too far into this, but they're keeping the phone gimmick going, right?
Yeah.
He walked out, I think, holding Rock's phone, which was like,
it was the Bloodline phone. It was the Bloodline phone.
Oh, it was the Bloodline phone? Okay, because it had. Oh,
yeah,
it
because
had, like,
I made
down...
a point of looking at I made a point of trying to see which one it was. It was the Bloodline phone. Yeah,
guys, we gotta follow.
Details matter, Matt.
They do. Matter. I know, but it's just, and I love the fact that we're talking about a wrestling show, and the idea of like, wait.
And what phone was the manager holding?
What? Yeah. Oh, what prop was in the background of that? We're doing that level. I like that. Yeah. Let's do more of that shit. Wrestling companies, TV.
Yeah, wrestling people do that.
Yeah,
more.
everybody do shit like that more. I love Easter eggs. Love stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think when you do that too, it just creates like more investment in like world building. You know, like it sounds silly to say with a wrestling show, but you kind of have to do that because now like the stories are getting intertwined with real life like way more than they used to back then. Like they even Brian Gerwitz was mentioned on Monday Night Raw, like,
and he responded on Twitter.
And he responded on Twitter like a heel. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
It's genius. It was honestly like, I mean, Brian Gerwitz. So I met him briefly when I did Titan Games, and dude was great to talk to. Like we chatted for just 15 minutes, and just the amount of knowledge that he was just dropping on me regarding wrestling,
everything
was just so cool. So yeah, I thought that was but also, do you think that, Matt, that makes the stories like harder to tell or easier to tell because there are these like real life aspects being blended in way more than there used to be?
I don't know if I've talked about this on this show. I've been very public. I think in certain arenas it works really, really well. I'm personally a huge opponent of Twitter character work and stuff like social media
really?
character. I love. It's like wrestling has this unique position where it can blur that line. I don't love blurring the line. I know it's a unique opportunity, so you're stupid to not take it. But my personal taste, wrestling is a TV show. Outside of the TV show, I'm not a TV character. That includes social media in my mind.
Okay.
I think there are ways you can ultimately use it, of course. Again, I'm not totally saying nobody should ever use it, but I don't like the idea that the red light is on, the record light is on. I will give you 1,000%, but then I can't go on my Twitter and talk about a movie. Well, your character why would they be watching that? Yeah. You're this or whatever. Like, what? Why are you talking about baseball? And then all of a sudden I'm angry at this guy on TV. I don't know. Like, I think there needs. It's a TV show. We're cast as characters. The minute we're off the set, we do media and everything as a person. Ray Fiennes doesn't tweet as Voldemort. Okay, that's my cleanest cut example of the social media stuff. But again, I can acknowledge
if he did, it would pop off.
Yeah. Separation of gimmick and state. That's what. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yes, and
separation of gimmick and state.
Yeah.
We are now here for the religion of the bloodline. All blood for the blood god. Yes, I acknowledge.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, Jake, how do you feel about it? So you're in the same boat? You like it?
I mean,
you don't like it, rather?
I'm kind of mixed. I don't like when it's used as a crutch. Because I think it can be way overdone. I like sometimes I think it's a garnish, not an ingredient, right? Like that's what it should be. It's a garnish, not an ingredient.
So many
when
great
you sprinkle it
regarding the subject.
when you sprinkle it in, like it's more significant, right? Because it's not something that's relied on too much, and sometimes you have these things where you're like, oh shit, it's like calling Punk Phil, it's like or something like, it's like when they use their real name, when they just drop it in there, and you're like, oh shit, he's like talking to the man, not the character, they're talking to the like that. when it's not relied upon of like, this is the only way we can get this story over, or this is the only way we can bring more attention or heat to it. Like, I like when it means something and it's not just to get a cheap pop. So I'm kind of in between. If you use it sparingly, it means more. So I just don't think it should be leaned on as much as it can be sometimes.
It's like, do you remember there was a time, like, probably kind of when I was there, and maybe even a couple years before, like, WWE was pushing it hard, and it would be like, Raw would be like, oh, did you see over the weekend Bayley tweeted this and so, and then Raquel Rodriguez responded like this, and then so-and-so, or whatever, and it was like, they would fill up the screen for like 2 minutes with their tweets back, and I'm like,
right,
this is so dumb. Like, how about just cut a promo? Like, but what Jake's talking about, like, I loved, like, one of my favorite recent examples is Cody responding to Rock's 20-minute video, right? Just with that little meme. Like, and then you can show that, or WWE can retweet that. It's a fun little, like, jab back, but it's not like the crux of what their story is for this week, is them going back and forth. So, like, I love the garnish metaphor. I think it works really well.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm a little bit on the side that I do like it, because I think that with the newer generation and people like just being kind of dialed in all the time with content, while I will say, yes, if you do it too much, like the way it was, when WWE would like show 5 tweets one after another, it can feel a little overwhelming. But I think it's funny that you guys say that, considering that, like, I do feel as if this whole thing with the Bloodline and Cody has very much been influenced by IRL situations. I mean, we literally just talked about Brian Gewirtz responding to something as a heel, right? Like, and again, to both of your points, when it's a garnish, it's quite effective. But I do feel like this particular story, it's kind of the frosting that's covering the cake. Like, they need, to use another analogy. Sure. It feels like they're just leaning on it a little bit here because that's how it was birthed to begin with, right? Like, this whole thing started because of social media pressure and, like, the bad reaction and yada yada. So yes, there is a world where you got to play the rules and you got to play the game. You got to do it the right way. You don't want to like go too far in one direction. But you also, I think, when you look at the WrestleMania feud, it's like very much all IRL stuff.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Yeah,
and I think fun. Like,
go for it.
I think to a degree, like, I don't know that the feud necessarily needs it, but like you said, since it was kind of started this way, where it was a lot of this story was born of social media.
Yeah,
it makes the fans feel a little more invested, maybe even involved to a degree. But at the same time, I think what Matt was saying is very important too, of having the separation of the character and the person, to remind people and fans that wrestlers are people.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily the characters that they play or portray.
Yeah.
And I think that's vitally important for fans to remember, is the person you see on the screen is a fucking human being. So treat them like it.
Oh, for sure.
Now when they engage or do some things in character or whatever, that's one thing. But like when you start attacking the person, that's another. So that's another reason that I think it's kind of important to have that separation to a degree and not rely on it so much for the safety and mental well-being of the person involved.
Yeah.
So I think it's more important than ever to not rely on it so heavily.
Yeah. Something I didn't consider. Honestly, didn't really consider that, but that's a very, very good point. And
it's because you're a bad person and you don't think about people.
I'm an inconsiderate bad person. I know, guys. I know. I can't help it. No, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. And we'll see, though, right? Cody's going to have his response to Roman, or Roman and Cody are rather going to be meeting face to face on SmackDown. It was agreed upon through Paul Heyman, the wise man, that They will meet face to face. Now, what I thought was really interesting about it was that Heyman goes up, tells Cody, says, "Oh, I have a proposition. You, Roman, face to face, no bloodline." And then he just like blindly accepts. And then he was like, "But wait a minute." And then I was expecting like something else, but no. He just said, "But no, you have to come alone as well." And it's like, oh, okay.
That felt redundant.
Yeah.
That felt redundant. Like it was implied. Like, why would you feel the need to say that to Cody Rhodes of all people? Like, I feel like
Cody
Cody
if
was
someone
like,
jumped
okay.
ahead or not. You know, like if someone jumped ahead in the moment, but that would not. That,
could have been.
But for Cody and Heyman, that just doesn't seem like possible because they're very.
It was a little odd.
Yeah, but it was a little odd. But we'll see how that plays out. I'm expecting shenanigans. Are we expecting shenanigans? Scale of 1 to shenanigans. Where are we feeling right now with Friday?
On a scale of 1 to shenanigans.
It's like 1.
I'd say tomfoolery. I'd say tomfoolery on a level of 1 to shenanigans.
Okay, so we're not full shenanigans, but we're gonna have some tomfoolery.
Nah.
I'm gonna take. I'll take the low. I think no shenanigans. I think they're gonna save fireworks to pop off in the closing week or two when they bring all the shenanigans, all the fireworks in to really kind of excite you. I think they're gonna still kind of keep it just like tense, just like. No contact, no nothing like the slap we got, but like outside of that, I think we're getting a lot of just like palpable tension, and then in like the go home Raw Smackdown, we're gonna see shit pop off.
Ooh,
so I think we're gonna hold steady for now.
Okay, we hold steady.
I think the tomfoolery will not be on the part of Roman or the Bloodline. I think it might actually be someone on Cody's side who just doesn't think, they just are calling bullshit and they're going to show up anyway. Like I can see Jey doing that. I can see Seth doing that. I think that's why they had those moments backstage of like, I'm there if you need me. I'm there if you need me. So I don't know. I think one of them could maybe make the situation a little worse by showing up and getting involved in some way.
That'd be an interesting twist, an interesting flair on the story too, actually.
So something I want to do before we move on is kind of a temperature check on whether or not we think Cody will finish the story. Because I feel like it is changing like the wind, what people are feeling regarding this story. I think right now we're still very much on track for Cody to win the title at Mania. Agree or disagree for both of you guys? Yeah?
Agree.
We're still on track?
Yep.
Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened to me that has like really made me waver from that.
Yeah, same.
Fair. I just don't understand why people are like, no, Roman's winning. Like everything that's happening now indicates Roman's winning. I've been seeing that on Reddit. I've been seeing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you two reasons why they think that. One is history of the guy's held the title for however many days, and they think that he's going to keep holding it to beat Hogan's record. The second reason is people are stupid. So, I mean,
and honestly, see option 2 before you check option 1.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that makes a lot of sense. All right, well, we'll be keeping tabs on this one. We'll see what happens on SmackDown this week. Speaking of Friday, by the way, just want to let everyone know there is going to be a second episode of Rebooked that comes out on Friday. Yes, this week's topic is going to be a fun one. We are going to rate every single title in AEW from importance to non-importance. And that is going to be what the topic of discussion is. We are also including the Ring of Honor titles, and we're also including the FTW title. Everything that AEW has shown will be discussed. So make sure you join us for that, because there's also some really interesting storyline developments that are happening in that regard as well. Which takes us to Around the Squared Circle, where we will go and check out all the different storylines. Just kind of dabble in a little bit, not dive too deep until we won't need to at the moment, right? Especially considering that the Bloodline Cody feud is taking up a lot of air right now, and that has been like the big focal point, I think, just across the board. That said, there has been another storyline that's been kind of growing a bit in AEW, and that is Bryan Danielson going up against Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay shows up Everyone unsure about what this guy is going to bring to the table. I had asked a question on an episode, like one of our first episodes, of whether or not Will Ospreay will be good in week-to-week, TV in the United States. And surprise, surprise, he is. He gave a really, really good promo. And it seems as if the story here, very simple. And big shout out to Simon Miller, who says this as well. He's just like, there's nothing wrong with it when two guys just want to be better than the other guy. There's just nothing wrong with it. It's the most basic thing in pro wrestling. So let's just continue to enjoy the ride here. Will Ospreay says he is ready to die in the middle of that ring in order to defeat Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson, in response, after a god tier match with Shibata on Collision. God tier. I'm just gonna flat out say it. I'm just a stand for D-Bry, so it is what it is. Then goes into a promo and then tells Will Ospreay, "Well, I almost died in the middle of the ring, so I'm willing to go that distance. Are you willing to go that distance?" And this has made it very intriguing for me, just because these are two wrestlers with very different styles, and yet they are going to bring the house down. And I mean, Matt, I know you're a sucker for the for the indies and the technical stuffs and all that goodness and the in-ring action. I mean, am I crazy in thinking we're going to be seeing a masterclass in pro wrestling, because these guys are going to put something on that's going to be special?
No, there's no doubt about that. It's funny though. I would consider myself a sucker for. I love good wrestling. I'm a sucker for stories and characters, though.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't have picked. I thought you would be like, yes, into stories, obviously, but no. Like the technical aspect of wrestling, like what Bryan Danielson loves.
Being in this career, my whole career, being in this world, my whole career. Of course, I've come to I appreciate all that, but like I came to this. I'm a theater kid. Like I like movies. I like comic books. I like all that. This is what I like about wrestling. The idea that it takes this cool physical shit that we do, but brings in that emotional aspect. So, like,
well, the more you learn,
good, and I think this is a good example of a place where, like Simon Miller put, I think sometimes you don't got to overthink it. I know I'm better than you. People call you the best. People call me the best. Let's see who truly is. It can be that simple. I just hope it's not always that simple, because you can't just, and especially with Will Ospreay developing this reputation, especially over the last year on his way to making his AEW debut, he's been having kind of going around, just banger. He had a couple with us in TNA, but just these kind of like dream matches, one-offs, and just killing it. So he's got that reputation. I just hope, because he kind of came in, match with Takeshita, not really a story. Two of the best we got, had a banger. Danielson, he's the best to ever do it. They're gonna have a banger. I hope his feuds for the next 6 months aren't just like dream matches, because to me, I know maybe I'm the weird guy, but that gets old quick, and I want to see him get into a, week to week like.
Proper story,
grudge feud with somebody where there's a relationship that gets in betrayals, and like I want to see a little
brawl or two,
something like that, and play it, especially because Will is good at that. I've seen him get really good at it. He can talk. He can talk with conviction and cut a good promo. Let me see him get into a back and forth like emotional feud that also will lead to a banger match. I just hope we don't just get best in the world versus the best in the world 6 times in a row.
Okay. All right. Jake, I know you like the story. Not like the story.
Agree.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah. I think that's such an important part of wrestling, of the art of wrestling, is the story, right? And yes, I agree that sometimes it can just boil down to, I'm better than you. But Matt even mentioned, what was the point of the last match? It was essentially, I'm better than you. What did Bryan Danielson's last story, his last feud, what did it boil down to with Eddie Kingston? Yeah. I'm better than you. It's every single story. Give me a little more meat on that bone. That's all I'm asking for. It can still be that. It can still be, I'm better than you. I'm going to prove it. I just want a little more meat on that bone. That's all I'm asking for, because it does start to feel repetitive.
You feel like
yes,
it's an
I do
AEW
think
problem?
it's an AEW problem. It's 1,000% an AEW problem, because, and it's there's nothing wrong with it, but AEW prides themselves on being wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And not sports entertainment. They pride themselves on being wrestling. So a lot of times that's the focus, and that's fine. And look, I, as much as anyone, appreciate and respect the hell out of the technical wrestling aspect of it. I appreciate and respect the hell out of what Daniel Bryan and guys like Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay and Takeshita and Okada. I respect the hell out of what they can do. They can do things nobody else on the planet can do. But when it is just the same thing over and over again, because then it's just UFC. It's just boxing. It's just anything else. And that, to me, is what separates professional wrestling from those other sports, right? Is the story, the characters, that's what is so great to me about professional wrestling. Give me more of that,
Yeah.
And I do think it's a problem in AEW because, it's reflected in the types of characters that they play. I think we've talked about it before. Name a face. Name a face for AEW.
Eddie?
Orange Cassidy.
Eddie and Orange.
End of list.
And I guess
because
Adam
everybody.
Copeland?
Sure. I'll give you Adam Copeland. But at the end of the day, everybody is just wanting to be the badass. Everybody wants to be the line straddling, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. Just, they all want to be the same person, and no one, it feels like no one stands out.
Except for
Orange Cassidy. But it just feels like largely a lot of people. Yeah, I'm not saying that he and Eddie are playing the same. I'm just saying everybody.
I just praise praise my God, just praise my
sure,
my orange
yeah,
God.
absolutely. But it just feels like because everybody wants to be the same thing, no one's standing out.
Yeah, no,
and that's why Orange Cassidy does, because he's not doing that. He's doing something different. Eddie, Eddie wears his emotions on his sleeve. You can see it. You can feel it. That's what's different about Eddie. Everybody else is just like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you because I'm going to beat the shit out of you. That's how it feels a lot of times. So that's why I'm saying, give me a little more character development, a little more focus on the story, and I think that will fucking kick them up to the next level. I really do.
It's interesting because, I forget, there was this video years ago. I think it was I hate saying his name, but it was the Max Landis video or whatever, where he was talking about the how wrestling is presented, and it was it's a show about wrestlers, and there's Monday Night Raw, and then there's how I forget how it was described, but basically
is it wrestling is that the wrestling is everything?
Yeah, it was that video. And he had a really good point,
or something like that.
Yeah, he had a really good point about just how they're the commentators, the show, it's a show about pro wrestling, but it's WWE, but everyone's kind of in on it, right? And but they're the story that they're telling and the way they're doing it. For example, right, on SmackDown lately, one of the things that they've been doing has just been going straight to Michael Cole and Pat McAfee for reactions on what they just heard and saw. Right? They're just a couple React Andy streamers just sitting there watching a TikTok, and they're like, oh man, that was crazy, right? And don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. But then on the AEW side, it feels like it's a wrestling league that has rankings, and so the characters kind of make sense that they're always trying to just be better than everyone else, because and I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything. It's just my observation of it. It just feels as if AEW is we are a wrestling league, and everything that we do is in service of the wrestling league, right? Whereas with WWE,
but that's
it's like
hard
we
to
are
do.
a show. We're like a sitcom, and everything is about like this. Yeah, I don't know if I was going in circles there, but
I see where.
No, I know what you mean. It's hard to do that though. The whole "I'm better than you" stuff is hard to do when it's predetermined.
It's true.
I hate to burst anyone's bubble here. Who's
don't
watching?
Do it. Don't do it, you filthy animal! How dare you?
It's predetermined. I'm not going to say the F word. To hell with anyone who says the F word. It is predetermined, and it's hard to do that. Of like, well, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. It's like. It's boiled down to athleticism, and like that's great, and yes, some people are more athletic, but like it's just hard to do. And I think they've even said that they're trying to legitimize it and make it feel more like I'm going to use a real sport. It disgusts me saying that term, but like you know what I mean? Because like anyway, I think that's the problem is like when it's predetermined. You got to bring something more to it because it's just, well, we know it's not that you're better than that person. It's because someone said that you're better than that person. So give me something else. Give me something else to go along with. That's the point of the stories. That's the point of the characters. Is it's a scripted program, you know? So give me something more to lean on, to hope for. I think that's a problem AEW has of one of the biggest things in screenwriting that they tell you to do is show, don't tell. And I think AEW so much brings someone in and they're just like, this is one of the best guys in the world. This is one of the best guys in the world. You should be excited about this because that person is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Yeah. Fucking show me that. Show me that.
I will say, I won't give them their flowers, though. They're doing it with Okada. They're doing it with Okada.
They are doing it with Okada. I love how they're handling Okada. But it feels like he's the only one that they've done that with.
I agree.
Show me, don't just tell me. That's what I want more out of storytelling in wrestling.
Well, that brings us to our next one around the squared circle, because one story that actually does have a really good narrative that is built around it is the Uso feud. Jimmy and Jey going up against each other. And it is actually quite a parallel from like what you would see on AEW. I will agree with that. I think that it's very fascinating how this feud, because at first, I didn't really care. I've always liked the Usos. They're awesome. But I didn't really care that much. But it just wasn't until, like, Jimmy just cost Jey the Intercontinental title that I was like, damn, that was good. And then it was starting to give me, like, I went back and I was watching, like, Bret and Owen matches. And it was starting to give me that vibe. And granted, I'm not saying, like, Bret Hart had a wonderful thought process on how to, like, construct these stories. Right, I definitely feel like Jimmy and Jey are like finding their rhythm, and now that they have with this story, I really think this match is going to be great. Matt, what do you feel about the Jimmy and Jey feud as it stands right now?
No, like I'm with you, especially. So I thought there was a period at one point, I think last year, where I thought they missed their moment to get this match. When Jey originally left the blood, like, because there was this thing, everyone thought the bloodline whole thing was imploding after Sammy, after Jey left. We're like, all right, now it was like last summer. It's now the crumble kind of begins, and it kind of Jimmy went back into the bloodline, and it kind of just reformed itself, and they kind of separated a little bit with they had the Cody and Jey stuff, and so I thought they missed their mark. Like, if they were going to do it, they should have done it like last fall, last summer, whenever that was. It would have been hot. And but then kind of stayed away. And then I'm with you, GB. I'm like, they kind of were starting to get back into it. Do I care? I don't know. Cost them the title. Okay, I'm a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then these last few weeks, and I will give them a lot of credit, last night's promo was really good.
Yeah.
And I shout out to Jey specifically. They both brought very, especially because look, knowing these brothers like I do, they often have a very similar delivery. They're so similar. They're shoot brothers. They're shoot twins, man. Like these guys, similar delivery. All the they've done everything together. Uso Penitentiary, Day One ish. The Haka, everything. And so all their shit was very, very similar. Then the Bloodline, right? Now they're very separate for the first time ever. And in that promo, they did such a good job of even just coming at it with different energies. Jey was kind of that loose cannon, like, I should fucking told you. I fucking told you this shit. I was all for me. It was because of me. And Jey was almost a little reserved, like I didn't want to fucking fight you, but like I know I'm gonna have to. And like this is like, look, this is it was almost like this is a dream match. Like it was like this lighthearted, like grounded kind of thing. Jimmy was a little crazy. Jey was a little bit more like raw and real, and like I don't know. That really sucked me back in and brought it to the next level. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I love what Jimmy is doing. I love what Jimmy is doing.
Which is crazy because I thought Jimmy was the one that was struggling the most in this one, and Jey was like really shining.
He was,
but now Jimmy's like on the path.
I think he's up there too.
But Jimmy is doing so great because Jimmy is playing it like a person broken. Like he's a little nuts. He's playing it like a little crazy. Someone who's lost who he is, who's lost all sense and touch with reality. And he's just playing it so erratic. And I think I think it's great. I think he's finally found who Jimmy Uso is separate from Jey Uso.
And I love it
I can't
too.
give him enough credit.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it all pays off, and maybe it'll be a big turn for him with Bloodline stuff too. But like, dude, they're doing a lot of stuff. Like, it's kind of memey and it's kind of funny, but all like with Roman, the missed high fives and handshake, right? But like these ideas that like he came back, he turned his back on his brother, he stayed with the Bloodline, all this shit, and it's kind of like he's starting to kind of question why, but he's still pissed. You saw him in that promo. He was like, "You went out, you won the tags, you took the tag titles with someone who wasn't me. It wasn't that like you left the Bloodline, whatever." Like he's like, I understood that. He kind of said like, I understood that. He kind of like, I get it. But you're doing this shit without me. Like he still wants his brother because I don't know, maybe he's not getting that same family in the Bloodline. I don't know. There's little stuff going on.
That's big.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And I hope that all pays off at Mania.
Yeah. It's funny when he's doing no one's giving him, no one's giving him love, no one's dapping him up, because that's what he's used to, and now he's lost without it, and it's driving him nuts, and he's not realizing. It's a great like heel thing. He's not realizing it ain't Jay's fault. It's his fault. He doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't want to admit that he made the wrong decisions. I think it's so like, and it's build to that where we're seeing Jimmy break, and mentally, and I think it's fantastic. And just that moment between the two of them in the ring where they finally said what they needed to say to each other to a degree, I think was great. I'm very invested in that story now. I think it can have an impact on the Roman and Seth match, or sorry, Roman and Cody match on night 2, of where maybe Jey beat some sense into Jimmy to a degree, and he's supposed to go in there and do his part, and he doesn't.
Yeah,
because
mindset's
fantasy
booking.
Here.
Here's what I think is going to happen. Little fantasy booking, real fast. I'm just gonna spit this, and then we'll move on to the next one. But let it marinate for a sec. Here we go.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jey wrestle at WrestleMania. Jey wins. Jey and Jimmy have a great matchup because obviously they're two fantastic professional wrestlers, and that's exactly what they're going to go do.
And insane chemistry.
And at the end of the match, Jey is probably going to get a roll-up pin, the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. He's probably going to get a roll-up pin for that, because I think that would be the best way to kind of like keep Jimmy like still very much in it. They're brothers. They should be, like having the odds of each other. Like I feel like it should end that way because they're brothers, because they know each other. It has to come with cleverness. You cannot just, the Uso splash. No, that's his move too. So like it doesn't really, you kind of have to get clever with it. But wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Jay's going to go up to Jimmy and shake his hand. He's going to be like, "You're my brother and I love you. And we had a moment together." And then Jimmy is going to be conflicted Why did this person who left, who abandoned me, who treated me like blah, 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 why did he just want to shake my hand? He's going to go into this questioning himself. And then when it's Bloodline Rules on Sunday, and then Jimmy comes out with God knows what weapon to try and like help out, Jay's going to come out, and then Jay's going to be like, Jimmy, what are you doing? This man doesn't care about you. He doesn't want you here. He doesn't even recognize. Something's going to happen. And then Jimmy's going to turn on Roman. I think that's my fantasy book.
Yeah.
What do you
think?
think?
Can I tell you why you're wrong?
Oh, oh shit, dude!
Please,
I'm dead right now. Go for it.
It's not going to be a roll up.
I don't think
Jimmy and Jay are going to have a hell of a match.
Yeah.
And
Well, we can
Jey
all agree
Uso
on that.
Jey Uso makes Jimmy tap.
But with what?
He makes you. I don't know, but he makes him tap.
Because Jay doesn't have that as like a
Like I want Jay to be screaming at his brother, tap, please tap. I will break your fucking arm if you do. Like, I don't want to do this, but tap out. Is begging him, and finally he does. And Jimmy leaves embarrassed. Jay tries to shake his hand, but Jimmy won't do it. He leaves embarrassed. His whole world has just crumbled. He did the most embarrassing thing that he could have done at WrestleMania. Not lose to a roll-up, but choose to tap out to his brother.
To give
right?
up.
And then to give up. And then in the match the next night, Jay comes out to help Cody at some point to get involved. And then here comes Jimmy. And it's kind of like the situation that we saw with Sammy. Like, what is he about to do? And that's when he turns on Roman. And I don't know why I think that would be like a really great moment, but I just feel like him tapping is like unplugging Jimmy's brain and plugging it back in. Like I feel like it will do a hard reset on him and make him question everything. To then have this wonderful moment later with his brother, you know, I don't know.
But we can agree though. Jay wins. Jay tries to shake hand or do something to like win Jimmy over. Jimmy says no, and then we get Jimmy turns on Roman once he realized the error of his ways. Matthew, what do you have?
I love it. No, this is good, and I have a similar thing, but very different. I think that we have a lot of similar touchstones, but I think we all have a unique point of view on how it will go down, and I love it. That's what makes good shit.
Yeah.
So I think
such good shit.
So we've got literally three, and we're gonna have three different finishes here. GB thinks a roll up, kind of. I think you're thinking very Bret Owen. It's like back and forth, and there's like sneaks it, like gets it out of there, athletic.
Brother feud. Just saying, yeah.
Jake's going the real intense route with the tap out and everything like that. I'm gonna flip the script another way. I think Jimmy wins.
Woo! Cook.
I don't know, but I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know that like the booking whatever how I would write it. Jimmy wins. I think you get to a point where you have when you were talking the roll up, I get it, and it's like this mano and mano thing. But I think we're missing something akin to a "I'm sorry, I love you" kind of kick moment.
Okay,
like it's gonna get nasty. This is pretty personal. It's pretty emotional. I think we're gonna get to a point where they've just beaten the shit out of each other. Not a no holds barred kind of thing, but they're just gonna go all out, bumping on the floor. Be a
fantastic match. Yeah.
But, going all out, dives, all this shit. I think they're gonna get to a point. They're both fucking exhausted, but Jimmy somehow has gotten the upper hand. Maybe he's done something kind of underhanded in the match that he almost didn't even want to do. He got pushed to a limit. We're at some point where Jay can't fight. But he's conscious. It is that, bro, fuck it, finish me, bro. Whatever, like you.
Yeah.
I got nothing fucking left. Bam, kicks him, pins him. What did I fucking do? I won, but at what cost? Kind of moment. And maybe even Jay, whether it's there or backstage, says, even in defeat, Jay goes, "I love you,
GG, man." Yeah.
I love you. Thank you for giving us this moment. And Jimmy's like, what the fuck? You lost. Why are you trying to hug me? Why are you trying to shake my hand? Like, fuck, what the hell? How can you think this way? He whether he does it or he walks away, and then over the
because Roman would never. Right. Roman would never react that way.
And he sleeps on it. And then that is, I think, more of an emotional impetus to the next night is like, he's been thinking on this. No, Jay's right. Dude. Like he, even in defeat, he extended the hand. He extended the love. Like, he showed me that grace. Fuck, he's right. I'm going to help him.
Here's where I think you are right on this one. I actually think you are right. But I think it's going to be Solo who interferes. And I think probably Jimmy just wouldn't want, or like Solo's going to interfere, cause some kind of problem. Jimmy's probably just going to be like, why are you here? I don't know. I could see Solo being involved in this somehow, some way. As you were speaking, I kept thinking like, this all makes a lot of sense. This all sounds really good. They could really just put Solo in this situation. Let him be like the one who, for all we know, Roman could have just given Solo the assignment. Make sure Jimmy doesn't lose. Plain and simple, right? I don't care about Jimmy winning. I just don't want me to look bad on a night where we're supposed to, beat Cody and Seth, and I'm going to beat Cody for the title, right? So it's like real mafioso type of shit to just go and be like, hey, handle this business, because he has kind of been the equalizer, if you will, for the bloodline in many a situation. So that could be really fascinating. I really do think that we're going to be coming out of WrestleMania and feeling like this is one of those like matches that are worthy of like, Bret Owen or, Matt and Jeff when they did it in TNA, right? Like, I think we're really going to have some really cool stories developing out of this one, and most importantly, some new mega stars that WWE can just continue to like build off of. So it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. Now, moving on though, one more around the squared circle. We definitely hung on this for a while, but it was awesome. So I'm not complaining. One more story though. TNA, of course. Got to talk about the homies over there. Alex Shelley has been seeing some big shifts in his character, and this is also because Alex Shelley to me always felt like a guy who you just knew he was like a fantastic professional wrestler. He just wanted the win. It was very much that story. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but his story even leading into him winning the title was just like, this is going to be like the final run, or like, the last hurrah. If I don't do it now, I may never get a chance to do it again, because like he had fought for the title before and then lost it and all this stuff. So where are we at right now?
He'd never had the title before.
I thought he did.
No,
but he never fought in a match for it?
I forget I don't know if that was his first ever title match. It might have been his first ever. He definitely never held the title before.
Because I know he was like X Division for like a
tag
hot
team
minute.
champion,
And tag
X
team
Division,
champs.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's kind of done everything else except be the guy.
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing. 20 years he'd helped like mold an entire generation of talent as a teacher, as a trainer, all this stuff, but he never had a chance to be that guy, and he finally was. And he was for a while, and so like he was kind of he was the guy in TNA. He was the ultimate kind of babyface that worked hard, long journey, got there, crested the mountaintop. It was up there, and so, but he's also always been a little bit of like, well, I call him Salty Shelley on the show, because like he was a babyface through and through, but he was also one of those guys who's like, if he gets frustrated in a match, he'll bend you around the ring post. Like, he's not like a cleanup, like, I'll hold on to that rope break for an extra couple of seconds if he's getting a little frustrated. Like, there's a little bit of grit to him underneath his nails. But we talked about it a little bit a couple of weeks ago, the no surrender match he had, which it's a bit of a convoluted match, but basically your friends decide your fate. They throw in the towel for you is the way you win. You get somebody to throw in the towel. He lost. Kushida threw in the towel on his behalf. And it's kind of led into this interesting path. And it's I love it because it hasn't been very clean cut. It's been a slow burn. I encourage people to check out the show of just Shelley kind of, he's a little upset with Chris Sabin for not being there. He's a little, he's mad at Kushida for throwing in the towel. I told you not to, like, motherfucker kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're my friends, but goddamn, this was my moment. I was on top. I could have gained all that back kind of thing. And it's it's showing in their matches. It's showing in their backstage, that frustration. He's not like all of a sudden just putting on a black coat and being a bad guy, but it's subtle week to week, and like his frustration is eating into his relationships. And I just like the way that we're slow burning that with Alex Shelley, and it lets us see this new side of him in TNA, which is cool. Yeah.
No, I love the way that, you know, even TNA does, like, you know, the backstage stuff, and it's very like, you know, personal, very raw. It's a good way to, you know, approach it, right? Especially considering that, you know, I mean, there's no surprise, like TNA is, you know, like, I'm sure their budgets are very different in the comparison to budgets of WWE, right?
No doubt.
But I am a firm believer that, and Jake, you're gonna confirm this in our time at G4, that, you know, or that which shall not be named, maybe, that you have to find creativity sometimes within limitations. And I think that TNA definitely doing that. And you know all about that, right, Jake? You know all about that creativity limitation bullshit. Oh, man. So, yeah. I'm excited to see where the story goes.
I know more about the limitations than the creativity.
Than the creativity. Yeah. Oh, gee, never mind. I won't even give it the time of day. But yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on altogether. Yeah, I know, right? The Trauma Cast. We will definitely be keeping an eye on this one, and also go and watch TNA, please, for the love of all things holy and sacred. It's $1 on YouTube, a freaking $1, okay?
A whole dollar American?
One whole $1 a month. You could watch great professional wrestling
every week.
I'm not made of money.
You watch great professional wrestling on YouTube for practically nothing. It is awesome, and you get to hear Matt commentate pro wrestling each and every week.
Great pro wrestling, halfway decent commentary.
Yeah. Okay, so is Tom in that too, or
he's decent? I'm halfway. Yeah.
I love that, man. You're such a caster. You're such an esports caster. I love it. So the self-deprecation, we can never get away from it. I do it all the time. It's you know, a little side tangent, but going into the season for Valorant this year, we were talking about like, the tone of the broadcast, how we wanted to, you know, approach things. And Albert, who is one of our producers, a really awesome guy, he's just like, yeah, so GB, you know, a lot of people just really love your humor and stuff, but you know, I think we're gonna lay down on the self-deprecating old jokes. I think let's try and bring those back a little bit. And I'm like, well, when you're like, you know, the oldest person that's working and everyone calls you a boomer, it's kind of hard not to talk about it. But yeah, it's just a commentator things, you know?
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead though and move on to the final topic, because I don't make sure we don't want to go too long on this one, but we got to talk about the CEO.
Jake's favorite song.
The greatest theme song of all time. Am I right, Jake? We love it. But Mercedes Mone, a.k.a. Sasha Banks, now in AEW.
FKA.
FKA, excuse me. FKA. I'm going to also say this real fast. I actually really like the name Mercedes Mone, personally, because her name's Mercedes. And
fun story about that name, though.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, so I commentated her New Japan title win at Battle in the Valley when she won the New Japan IWGP Women's Championship. So I remember that on that night I was like, hey, so is her name? It is like, because it looks Monet, and now that's what they're saying. I don't know if it's changed, but on the night I was told it is Money, like money. It's not Monet, it's Money. So we got buzz, like, make sure you're saying it's Mercedes Monet, because it's like money. She's making money and everything.
But it sounded like the commentary was saying Monet.
No, the 100% on AEW, they're saying Monet. And when you see it, she made the decision because, like, when you see it written, that's everybody's natural inclination would be to pronounce it Monet, because anybody else who has that name, because it is a real name, would be Monet. But I don't know. I just thought it was funny. We got, like, hard told, like, no, it's not Monet, it's Money. Yeah. Because she's making money.
My favorite was when I was commentating AEW, and I got the call that I couldn't use the Death Rider. And I saw them come up with the Paradigm Shift name just right in front of me. They were just like, Yeah, we gotta come up with a no name for this. I don't know. Paradigm shift. And I was like,
Okay.
that's fucking awesome. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I do also like too how they have changed it now though. So like paradigm shift is kind of like just his double underhook DDT for Jon Moxley, and the Death Rider is the I'm gonna lift you the hell up and just drive your head to the ground. That's the Death Rider. So because Excalibur does say Death Rider now, so I'm assuming. And mind you, when AEW first started, the relationship with New Japan didn't exist at the time. So that's probably the reason why. But yeah, anyway, back to Mercedes Moné, though. She is debuting in AEW. Comes out in Boston, the most telegraphed appearance ever, which no one was mad about. They literally freaking had it in the damn graphic saying Boston. They would even spell it out that way multiple times. I thought that their like keyboards were broken. And she comes out, big pop, people losing their dang minds. But we got to first start with Jake's favorite part, the theme song, right? Jake, you were very against it. And
Tell us how you really feel.
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué, Jake?
I hate her entrance music. I hate it. I can't stand it. And it's all because of the damn CEO chant. Cut that shit out. Like, CEO's a great nickname. It's perfectly fitting for her. But I don't need the prompt for the this is where we're supposed to chant. Okay, CEO. Like that. It's like canned laughter. Like like that's what it is. It's like an applause sign on a show telling me this. Oh, this is where I'm supposed to laugh. This is where I'm supposed to. I fucking hate that shit. Cut that shit out of that theme song. Like, is the problem you gave her all the money and you didn't, and you were like, oh shit, now we need a theme song. Well, we don't have
all
it.
The Mone.
Just chant CEO over it. Like, I can't stand it. It's awful. Please, for the love of God, get rid of it. Because it's so, if it were like,
but not the song. You're saying get rid of the CEO. Not the song, just the CEO tagline.
It kills the music because it's so overwhelming. It's like those times in the Thunderdome, the WWE Thunderdome during the pandemic, where they're piping in chants and shit. That's what it sounds like. It just sounds like it's like when you're watching a show and you're like, that's canned laughter. Like they're not filming in front of an audience. Like, please.
Real quick,
like, I can't stand it.
I just wanted to say AEW, I think, has done this at least 2 times. First was Wardlow. And it was like Wardlow, like that was in the song initially. And then the next one was when Bryan Danielson debuted with his new song, and it was supposed to be like, you're gonna get your head kicked in, like that whole like thing. Like apparently, if
it's like more subtle, but like it's the most.
But it's like very it's very in your face, It's
yes,
like,
it's obnoxious.
Like it's the whole song.
Yeah, and you can barely hear the music because of this fucking chant. Get like, for the love of God, take it down like 30 or 40 decibels, and then maybe it'll be better entrance music. But I can't even hear the damn music because all I hear is CEO at the top of everybody's lungs. Like, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It ruined her debut for me.
I hope that makes it into the podcast, because on my end,
garnish, not ingredient.
It just sounded like your audio just crankled in a way, and it just perfectly represented your feelings for this song. So
yes.
Well, she debuts. She shows up, lets everyone know that she's here to kick ass and take names. The usual business. That part was fine. Matt, I mean, if as a showman, how did you feel about her coming out? Because I mean, honestly, she was hitting all the beats. She looked like a superstar walking out of that ramp.
She always comes out. I mean, gear to her hair to everything. She always puts it all to the nines. Also, really quick on the music, bold move to set it to the tune of another incredibly popular wrestler on TV currently. It's
wait, which one was this?
Walter. It's dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it's the beginning of
It's an opera. It's a famous opera song, so technically it's fair use.
Yeah, it's fair.
But it's just like, you are aware. It's not just like somebody using that song. There's another very popular on TV every week wrestler. It's just a little, to me, either bold or short-sighted.
I don't think this song's gonna stick after a while. I don't know.
You could do a lot, but I mean, it was pretty cut and dry. It was a very personal promo. Obviously, hometown. Big journey. We've been long time anticipating this. I think you hit it. She hit. It's a pretty cut and dry classic. Yeah. I'm here to go to the top. I'm here to do business. What an impact
she's had, though. Because honestly, that arena was that TD Bank Garden? Yeah.
Yep. That's TD.
Great. You want to know a little crazy rumor there, brother? I hosted a Counter-Strike event there, so it's kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
And that venue is freaking awesome, and they filled that shit out. Like, it was packed. And week in, week out, you're always hearing, like, AEW, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, like, Mercedes Mone, bona fide draw. Especially in Boston.
I don't
like
mean that to be dismissive. That's
punk in Chicago.
But there's a little bit of an X factor there. And I just hope that between stuff like her, Ospreay, Okada, hopefully, like, it's a lot of buzz. It's a lot of money they're spending on. I do hope it does
Mone.
Overall turn. Excuse me, Mone. I hope it does lead to more houses like that. Again, I'm a huge rising tides. All boats. Let's raise. I hope they're killing and filling houses and stuff too. I want to see more of that. Hopefully, that continues.
Same. Well, the story though moves on to a really good main event between Willow Nightingale and Riho. And again, like Riho wrestles, the Joshi style, and Willow is so good, and she knows how to like use her speed, also use her power. It's very athletic as well. So like she's doing stuff off the top ropes. It was a great match overall. But then lights go out at the end of it. Here comes Julia Hart, Sky Blue. Love what they are doing with the two of them, genuinely. And I will be honest. I knew that, Mercedes was going to come out because there is that story there. And they did mention it, which I thought was good. Like, Mercedes got injured after wrestling Willow, but yet Mercedes comes out to rescue Willow. I thought that was quite fascinating. And then after the fact, you have, Mercedes and Julia squaring off. And I can't help but feel like I don't know if it's the right time to like put Julia Hart in this type of a feud with Mercedes. I know it's going to happen eventually. She's the champion. I just don't want Julia to lose the belt right now. I just don't feel like it would help her because she can really be legitimized by having some great matches with Mercedes Moné. So are we excited for the TBS program? Because honestly, as much as I do enjoy the TBS championship, I'm enjoying Julia Hart more, and the TBS Championship's kind of just there. So maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Floor is yours to whoever wants it.
So, like, I will say this. I'm excited that Mercedes isn't being tossed right into a world title.
Yeah. And Deanna's still involved in the world title picture, which is awesome.
Yes. I thought that was going to be kind of a one pay-per-view and done. I'm so glad it's not. I really didn't want that to be so short-lived, and so I'm glad to see that continuing. And that's what I mean. Like, I didn't want to see... She has all the legitimacy in the world to hotshot Mercedes to the world title, but like I would like to see her do something more in with the rest of the roster. So, like, I'm excited for that fact, but still that there is a championship here in play. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm hoping maybe we can get a few matches out of it at least. Clearly you're gonna go to Mercedes winning. That's eventually, but like, it's that tough part of like, do you come out of the gates hot, like, and their first pay-per-view match or whatever, she wins the title. You could do it where Sky and Julia do some underhanded shit and they kind of hold on to the belt for a couple of matches or something, and then Mercedes finally shuts them down. But I know wrestlers, and I know some of the booking over there. It's like, you get a star of that level, there's not going to be a lot of people voting to have them lose in a match that soon in their debut. So I feel like it's kind of inevitable, but I'm with you. I hope we can see more out of this.
Yeah. Jake,
I think
Mercedes
so.
being AEW, how do you feel about it?
I think it's good. I think she really has an opportunity to build up that women's division more, because I think that's something that is also criminally underused in AEW is the women's division.
I think it's getting better, though. I really do believe
I
it
was
is.
about to say, I think it
like,
is getting better
before she got there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it definitely is. But I think that this gives an opportunity to showcase more of them. What I would probably do is I think you can probably get 2 to 3 matches out of this, where I think you can have her in a title match against Julia Hart, and Sky Blue interferes, or like you said, Matt pulls some kind of underhanded stuff there. Then I think you have a match between Mercedes and Sky. If I win, you're banned from ringside, kind of thing.
Yeah.
An opportunity to showcase her even more with, and like you said, rising tide. And then you go in and you have her in her one-on-one with Julia, and she wins that. And then I think you kind of do I think with her, you do a John Cena U.S. Open challenge, and you just have her be like, who wants a shot at the CEO? Yeah. And then you start bringing in, I think that's what you can really do with her.
But they did do that with Jade. They did do that with Jade.
Sure.
The same belt. So that's
right.
But AEW is also not afraid to repeat stories. So maybe that I do agree with you though, right? Because you got to show her. It's what they're doing with Will Ospreay, right? Like they're just showing him in really favorable matches for him every single week, and then you're just like, oh yeah, of course he's a god because he's wrestling, like one of his best mates in Kyle Fletcher, So
right.
How do you do that though with Mercedes? I wonder. That's it'll be. I mean, you're gonna have some good matches. And I would really love to see Thunder Rosa going up against Mercedes. I would like to see Britt versus Mercedes. Chris Statlander is another one that would be amazing. There are some options that they could pull off here with this division. I mean, Saraya is there. If we can get Saraya, excuse me. You can get Paige and
Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soho, that would be another one because they've already gone toe to toe against each other in WWE before, and those matches were always great. So there really is a lot of directions that they can go. And her saying how she's very adamant, wants to be here, women's division wants to this is her opportunity to be the guy. This is it, and I think I'm excited for her, man. So it's gonna be
good.
I'm super happy for her, super excited. Yeah,
it's going to be fun. All right, fellas, I say we call it here. Matt, what we're looking at time-wise? I didn't even get a look at it. I can't.
We started early. We're at about 90 minutes.
We're a little heavy.
We're a little heavy. Okay, we're kind of eliminating the purpose of why we did the second show. But the good news is it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one. So in any case, though, folks, that's going to do it for us today. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. If you're excited about Mercedes Mone, tell us why. We want to hear from you. We know we didn't get in any comments. We didn't talk about any of the reviews or anything, or even some of the fantasy booking on Discord. Do not worry. Once I'm back home and not in Spain, I can actually think about building out our shows, and we can have a little bit more of a plan of attack. This was a bit of an experiment, even for myself, having to come out here and record this. And also join the Discord. Do not forget. Join our Discord where you can go ahead and share your fantasy booking. You could share just things that you like, the spoilers for each show, all that good stuff.
We're all active in there too.
Yeah, we're all active in there. Right. So it's a community where we all talk. There is no, just join us. We would love to have you.
But
yeah, let us know.
Don't keep it to yourself. Share this shit, man. Pop it on Reddit in the Squared Circle. Throw it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. Let's grow this thing. We want it to be a community.
Yeah, honestly.
So share.
One of my, I mentioned him today. One of my favorite wrestling YouTubers is Simon Miller. He's like the pinnacle of positivity. And I feel like we need to enter into the positivity era of professional wrestling, where we just enjoy the shit out of this stuff, because these men and women are going out each and every week.
Unless it's Mercedes theme music.
Unless it's Mercedes Mone's theme music, but it's okay because those things can change. In any case, though, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Rebooked. Like, subscribe, follow on your favorite podcast platforms, and we will see you for the Friday show, where we're going to talk about the AEW titles, and we are ranking them from most important to least important. Ooh, this is going to be quite spicy and very fun. So we'll see you then, guys. Take care.